Hi everyone. Okay, so today's video is going to be Ron and myself talking again. And I gotta tell you, I'm kind of blown away by the information. Ron channels, as you all know, and it is quite deep. And his frame of reference comes from having been a pastor, but now he's moved out of that and into a spiritual awakening journey and is also an engineer. So it's a really interesting conversation again this time, where, as many of you know if you've listened before, has to do with him channeling Stuart, Will, his guides, essentially, that really speak through to him. But what they're doing also in many instances is giving the frame of reference from the Bible, but helping us understand what it really was meant to say. And so, like I always say, take what resonates, toss the rest aside. But I think this one, I think they're all fascinating, but this one, there's something that just really hits home. And for me personally, shifts some things. So as we listen to the various people that we follow or listen to, and then most particularly our own inner selves, we start putting more pieces of the puzzle together. So I hope today that you take another puzzle piece away from this conversation for the puzzle of your own journey. So again, it's a longer video, but I'm starting with the energy kind of update in a sense of what's been going on in May and the things that I'm noticing and the information that I have received that I thought you might find interesting. So I'm going to have a little snippet of that up front here shortly, and then what I'm going to do is send you over to the conversation of Ron and myself. So what we're in right now in May, as I had mentioned to you in the May energy update, is I saw this huge bright light coming out of the calendar month of May, which is like explosive energy. Of course, it lines up with lots of things, right? But of us moving forward into this journey of creation, manifestation in the new world, okay, in the new earth, all right? And if you haven't listened to the May energy update, I'd suggest you do that, just to get the kind of the thread of what I'm talking about. But anyway, so what I'm getting now is, and this is not new information, but it's also, it's for everyone, but we're all at different stages, as I think you all know, or many of you are aware of. We are asking right now to be the stable force in this collective journey. As we know, there's just so much instability out there. But what that outside world wants to do is keep us feeling like the earthquake, the continued shaking and rattling, all right? We've talked long and hard about not allowing the external world to drive your day-to-day. And I know we're all impacted by it, but at the same time, if we put our attention to it, and I'm not saying it like an ostrich with their head in the sand, but what we want to do out of that is be able to go back inward, look at ourselves, and where we're either not creating stability, where we are contributing to our own instability is what I will say. All right. So this can be things like stuff is staring you in the face, but you don't want to deal with it. It's obvious what's going on, but you just don't want to deal with it. Kind of that idea of looking the other way. Well, that's the ostrich with your head in the sand. Okay. Less of the external stuff, but more of the internal. So in order for us to be able to move forward in our own journey to create what we want, we have to have that stability first. But before that, as we're working on that stability, and how we get that stability is by working on our stuff, okay? Not turning the other way. Dealing with our day-to-day things, emotions, feelings, relationships, all of that. And we know it shows up, all right? They show up. But we can no longer turn a blind eye to these things. I know it's been this way, but it's really this way now. Stability is key. Creating stability is key, because out of that, when you create stability in yourself, which is all of the things we've talked about in the past, which is looking at what's holding you back from achieving what you want, And that can be all kinds of things. Looking at habits, looking at how you treat yourself, looking at what your words are to yourself, looking at your relationships, looking at who you hang out with, choices you're making for balance or imbalance, right? So being able to create that stability that's very, very, very needed in yourself, right? In ourselves individually, but also collectively, right? Because ultimately this all rolls up to collective. We have to not turn a blind eye anymore to those, even those little things, because we're always going through this, right? Stability is only stable until the next thing shows up. But the key is not going, oh, not dealing with that. Okay. And that's where you get your instability from, right? So being very aware of how this process works, and that we continue to be offered things for us to look at and to kind of remedy, in a sense, in our own journey, so that we can then continue. Because remember, I talk to a lot of people, work with a lot of people who are what we'll just call frontliners, the ones starting this process of higher consciousness first in the collective, right? Like paving the way. We've talked all about that, right? Paving the way, chopping down the rainforest path so that you can get through, and the others might have a little easier way, right? But we still have to deal with our stuff. So that said, in order for us, we really need to look at ourselves very clearly each day and what shows up. And that can be in the littlest things. That can be in how you, drive down the road and encounter a crazy driver. What you think's a crazy driver. And how you're going to react to that, right? All these little things. Every day is learning. That's one thing I've learned in this spiritual awakening journey, amongst many other things. But I started realizing the other day, like, it's kind of like there's two of you inside yourself. The one now that was controlling you fully before, the human persona, is now working with the higher self. And that is interesting because you're having a conversation inside yourself. So when you start to recognize the way you behave, guess what? You don't not hear it anymore. It's right there in front of your face of like, oh, didn't behave well on that one, or why am I reacting to this person this way? And then really taking your time to go through that. And it is like with a fine-tooth comb. Okay. So anyway, my point in this part right now, where we're at presently, collectively, individually, is needing to create stability in our own house, right? In our own house, right? In our choices, in looking at what we may have been ignoring, and paving that way forward. Now, you can argue, well, we've been doing that all along. Yes, however, as you consider what is going on in, I always call it the outside world, okay, from our own individual journey. If you look at what's going on collectively worldwide, we're in, and I've mentioned this before, we are in a time of throwing everything at us, right? Throwing everything at us to see what hits and what lands. And basically we just keep dodging it, and we keep working in the way we know we need to work. So stability is the name of the game for right now. Creating that stability through the things that I just talked about. And again, that's just a quick summary. We probably could talk about for hours about that. So anyway, I am going to send you over to Ron and myself, and it's one of his sessions. Again, he has offered to us to be able to partake in that conversation, and I hope you get something out of it today, because I always find my conversations with him just fascinating. It's so great that he's offering this to all of us today. So with that, just a reminder, you can reach me at purplerainhealing.com for all of my services, and where I can assist you in your spiritual awakening journey, channeled messages, energy healing, and overarchingly understanding past, present, future of your soul journey. So with that today, I will take you on over, Ron, and wrap up with you briefly at the end. Thanks for joining me today.
I have an engineering mindset, so you got to just think like that, right? I'm always engineering mindset type thing. And I've had this question now, I don't know, for maybe a year. I'm like, somehow, if all this is energy, and I don't say that like I'm doubting its energy, it's how I was asking myself the question. If this is all energy, there's a transfer agent. There has to be a transfer agent in this, right? kind of like you're going to transfer electricity from, your wall plug to your
Yeah.
lamp. You got to have a
Yeah.
cord. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, right? And I was like, or is it, or is it truly just a wireless type of transfer like Tesla was talking about? But it's just never sat right with me. And when I say sat right with me, it's not a satisfactory conclusion, right? That's what I mean by it. So, but I get it. So anyway, after our call, I have this massive type of epiphany, and I'm thinking about what I sent you, right? So the movement of energy and the elements and the steps in that movement of energy, and I'm like, but there's an agent, right? There's an agent. There's some kind of a transfer agent there, right? What is that?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, go
So
ahead. You want to say
I'm
something?
getting something too. So I'll share it with you
No.
once you go. Go ahead.
Okay. So it was the weekend, right? And it was one of these times where I woke up at like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Oh God, I know.
And
And then you can't get back to sleep.
oh yeah. Well, what's weird is I'll come down here and I'll pound something out, and then I'll go back to bed.
Oh, that's good. You have to get it out.
Yeah, it's like I've kind of viewed it as I go to sleep and something registers in my unconscious, and then my conscious goes, you got to get this out, get up,
Yeah,
get this
totally.
out, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you know how some people wake up and they like write down on a notepad. No,
Yep.
I got to go write 50,000 words. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
That's
God, yes.
just
Yes.
just me. But so I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, and and there's no religion here, right?
Mhm.
So, but I've had all of these biblical passages popping off in my head, and I'm like, what? I'm like, what is that? And I'm sitting here, and it's separated the waters from above, from below, and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And quite honestly, that's one of those passages that if you don't understand like some very basic physics, you don't get that passage.
Right.
Well, it's weird, right? It's weird when you think about it. And I'm going, now I've got an idea of what that is. I'm not saying that I'm right, and I usually keep it to myself, right? But when I'm sitting there thinking about it, I'm going, wait, you separated the waters from above from below. What is that? Polarity. In the middle is where the good stuff happens, where the creation happens.
Sure.
Separated the waters from above and below. Now, you got to understand that passage or that story in the Bible, it's not what you think it is. But the way that they wrote it, it leads you down a certain path. But in my mind, I'm going, wait, that's polarity. And then he brought the land, he separated the water from the land. Polarity. It's all polarity. And I'm going, okay. And
Which,
then,
okay, wait. So,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so it's all polarity, which you could also argue is duality.
No, no, no.
No?
Duality is different.
Okay.
Duality is a different thing. Yep,
Duality is two. Okay. All right,
yep,
keep going. Because
yep.
what I
A
was going to
lot of
say,
people think that. And I thought that for a long time too, until you think about it energetically.
well, no. I was gonna finish this because polarity has like polarity is a how do I say push and pull
Yep.
magnetic kind of
Hmm.
yeah. And duality is
Absolutely.
two different things.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So just think, and you got to stay in the energetic part of it, right?
Yeah, you
Because
do.
this is where my own brain, it did exactly what you're saying. I was like, well, okay, wait. So we're talking about duality. And then I was like, no, wait, we can't be talking about duality because if I think about it, when I'm looking on an oscilloscope and I'm looking at a waveform, there's no duality there. There's just polarity,
Right.
right? That's all
Right.
there is polarity. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Well, here's the thing. If you're taking in, that means you're pulling from.
Yeah, okay.
Now think
From
about what I'm
something,
saying.
from something. Yes.
So in other words, if you have, just imagine a flat line, and then if I pick up out of here, even if you were like, think about it like this. If you're, I got to put it down to something. So you got a pan of water that's boiling, right, or
Mhm.
whatever. It doesn't even have to be boiling, just a pan of water, and you're just a little bit over what you're supposed to have in the pan. Say you're a ladle full of water, too much water,
Mhm.
and you put the ladle in, and you pull that ladle full out. The depth of the water in the pan goes down. You took from. So there's that constant exchange happening with energy. Now I hadn't really thought about it like that, but I was like, okay, that's cool. and I and I'm like, but what does this have to do with? And my mind was focused on the transfer agent, right? So this is where
Yes.
my I'm sitting, right? And I'm like, what does that have to do with the transfer agent? I don't know, whatever. Well, this thing unpacks, and it unpacks like a freaking free rolling freight train. And when it hits me, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Energetically, for us to be, we're taking from something else. Okay, so you could we could get into the negative or the positive or the left or the right or whatever. It doesn't matter. But the point is, we take we took from something else. You get you get the wave, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, that's really great. And I'm just I'm just pondering that. It was just a weird thing. And Will comes in, and you got to remember now, this is like 4:30 in the morning or something. I don't know. I'm sitting here, and the sun is just starting. The
Uh-huh.
sun's not coming up, but the light it's just becoming
Uh-huh.
dawn. And there was this little breeze that was blowing, and my wind chimes are all going, and
It's such a mystical time.
yeah, I was gonna say it's zen. I was
It
just like,
is.
cool. And Will just drops in like he's invited or something. You know what I'm saying? He is. Don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
he says, "Hey, what's greed?"
What's green?
Greed.
Greed. Okay.
And I was like, well, you know what I mean? It was like, and I've learned now whenever he's asking me questions like this, it's not what I think it is.
Oh,
Right?
sure. Oh,
So,
God, this is what happens to me. They give
so
you what happens with me is they give it's the same thing, but it's different. They give me a couple words, and I said to a client the other day, okay, here's what I'm getting, but I'm going to tell you, we have to unpack this. It's not what it seems.
exactly. So I'm like, okay, well, greed is the hoarding of possessions on the oneself. And he says, okay, drop Webster's. And I kind of was stuck for a little bit. And I just sat here and I'm going, okay, so wait a minute. What is greed energetically? What is that?
Okay, wait, I'm just going to throw something out. You
Yeah.
can tell me.
Yeah.
Taking more than you need. Taking more than yeah, taking more than you need.
So I'm going to play Will.
Okay.
Drop Webster's.
Oh,
Because we were so in the. I was like, yeah, I didn't have it that simplified, but he's like
right.
drop Webster's.
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting here and I thought, well, so greed energetically, that's a resonance of what? And I mean, I went down this rabbit. You got to understand, my brain starts
Uh-huh.
going into this very
Oh,
engineering
so you're
type of
saying
thought.
what's the energy of it? Where's the
Yeah,
resonance? Okay, I see what
yeah.
you're saying.
What is it? So when we
Well,
say
to me it's like lack because it's lack because if you're greedy and you take too much, I mean that's like you have a
okay,
lack mentality. You will never have enough.
Okay,
So you got
so
to take it from somewhere else, someone else.
so good. Yes. Well, what? So there's lack,
Yeah.
right? But think about what greed is. Greed is a persistence.
Yeah.
You're not greedy today and not greedy tomorrow.
True.
You know what I mean? You might be socially uncouth for taking too much food at this one particular
Yeah,
thing, but
right.
that doesn't make you greedy,
No,
right?
no, I get it.
So there's a persistence, a belief that you lack. It persists. So when you wake up tomorrow, you're just as lacking as you were today.
Yeah.
Will's like, yeah, that's, you know, gosh, I wish we ought to just channel him one day. But
Well,
anyway,
anytime you want, that's fine with me.
he's like, all right, so you have perpetual lack. Okay. And he says, but that's not enough because you already know that things are constructed in threes. You have to have the triangle to construct. That's the first element of construction.
Otherwise, you
So,
just have 2.2
yeah, if you just
planes.
have the two, you just got the 2D straight line.
Yep.
The third is what gives you the,
Yep.
and I'm going, okay. So if I feel like I'm lacking, or I believe that I'm lacking, where does that take me, right? And Will said, well, think about when you lack, what do you do? So then he said, it's funny because he goes, go back to Webster's now. So now when you lack, what do you do? And I said, well, you take. You take in abundance that which you don't need. And he goes, right, exactly. Okay. So he's like, what is that? Uh, um, think about that energetically.
Hmm.
What does that mean? What does that look like? That's weird because it's almost like a juxtaposition or a paradox, right? So you're greedy, so you're taking more than you require, and you're not giving it out. So you're hoarding it onto yourself, right? But energetically, that's a contraction.
Right, because here's what I was going to tell you is it comes from fear too. So
Yes,
fear is a lower frequency, and if you just use fear as the example, fear would that lower frequency, that's a contraction. It's not
right,
an expansion. It's not an expansive
right.
emotion or feeling.
As you're bringing in all of this stuff, so then, well, don't let me jump to the punchline yet. So, okay, so you've got this you've got this belief in perpetual lack, and you're contracting because of that belief. The agent, this is where it started now. The agent is what? And I was like, Will, man, I love it when you do these things, but I hate it when you do these things because it's like 4 o'clock in the morning
Yeah, I know.
and you're messing with me here. What are we talking about? He goes, well, just think about it. Why does somebody energetically become greedy? And I sat here for, man, I'm telling you, it must have been like 30 minutes and I just churned on this. And then it just like slowly turned on. So just consider you are in this belief of perpetual lack, which is causing this constriction, right? I'm trying to remember how I put it all together now. It's causing this constriction because you have consented, keyword consented to, you are unworthy.
Oh, but that
So
lines
your
up.
unworthy starts the contraction, and the contraction shows up in perpetual lack. demonstrated as greed.
Okay, wait, let me add something and just throw this out.
Yep,
Because
yep, yep, yep.
when you it's also not surrendering and not having faith and not having trust.
Oh no, that's the other side of the coin. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but okay, so keep going. Go ahead. I kind of lost
Well,
my
yep.
thought.
So this is where it like all turned on to me. I'm going, oh, hold on, wait a minute. So that means energetically, I'm taking in energy, but I'm not giving it out.
Yeah.
Now, go back to, I don't know, remember when we had the slide deck of the energy coming down and all of this stuff and the pictures? This is exactly that. This is exactly that. That's what it's showing me, right? And that flashed up in my head, and I was going, oh my gosh, wait a minute. Hold on. So we become like this hypercharged cell,
Oh.
but we're not doing anything.
Oh.
So
Oh,
what
we're
we're,
taking more in.
yep,
And we're not sharing any of it.
right.
Then it just becomes too much energy, like or
So
too.
so here's where this is the thing,
You
right?
know,
It's like a direct short to ground, right?
right.
So the energy that you're taking in has nowhere to go.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking. It's almost like you're going to implode.
exactly. So that's the whole thing. Somebody who believes in perpetual lack and is greedy. Now, what's funny is we have other words, and this is the linguistic trap. But the greedy part, right? So people say, now the person who's being greedy, they don't even understand this. They're just, hey, I have the ability to take it. I'm gonna. It doesn't matter if they're rich. It doesn't
Oh,
matter if they're poor.
right, right.
It because they're taking and not giving out, right? Taking and not giving out. Key word here,
Because
because
and
this is
there's
where it
no
all
balance.
came.
Think about there's no balance.
The key
There,
word is equilibrium.
there you go.
There's no
No.
equilibrium. So what we're doing is we're taking from the 0 point, if you want to call it that. But the 0 point isn't infinite. It's not. Let me rephrase that. The 0 point's infinite, right? Whatever. But the point is, if we're taking, that means we're taking something from here.
Hmm.
We're just continually taking. So the waveform is out of equilibrium.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. And he said, so Ron, if that's the case, what are you broadcasting? And this is where it all slammed home in my head. I was like, oh my gosh. So you can be the rich person and you've got all the money in the world and you got everything and you're grabbing whatever the reason is, and you can be the poor person and you can be stealing and you could whatever, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But at the end of the day, um, you are energetically locked in a phase and you can't move. And that is what you're broadcasting. But if you, I don't know if we've ever talked about this. So I'm going to say something here, and if you got a question, just interject.
Okay.
We don't move. We are sitting still. We are the 0 point. We are the point on the paper.
Okay.
Everything else moves around us. So whatever we're resonating, the
Oh,
field
right.
underneath
Yes.
of us, right?
Yes.
So if
No,
we're
I get what you're
resonating,
saying. But
okay,
this is what they've
we're
shown me.
resonating. Yep, if we're
So
resonating perpetual lack, the
yeah.
field moves in lines with perpetual
Yes.
lack.
So let me just align with
Yeah,
you for a minute.
yeah, go
What they
ahead.
have shown me, just to give you synchronicity,
Yeah,
so what they've always shown me is that everything possible is out there. It's all
yes,
there. And so we're stationary. They showed me as like us
yep,
as a dot, as an
yep,
individual. And all these things are out there, but it all depends on what frequency or vibration you're in.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I
Exactly.
totally align with what you just said.
Yep. So as that's all breaking on my head, I'm like, okay, cool. But I go back to the question now. So this is kind of weird, right? Because I'm still back at what's the transfer agent? If I'm radiating this, I mean, does it just transfer through the ether and it just
Okay. I was getting the word ether
yeah.
earlier.
No, yeah, that's where I'm at, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I got the word. That's the first word I got the minute you started talking, and that's what I said. I need to share this with you later. I
Yeah.
said they said the ether or
The
something to do with the ether.
the ether, right? Ether. This gets a little head trippy, and you just got to stay with me because this is mind bending from my perspective. So he separated the waters from above from the waters below, and he put in a firmament, the rakia, right? So everybody's trying to figure out what's this rakia.
I've never heard that word. I've heard firmament. I've heard the firmament.
So that's the Hebrew word for
Oh,
it,
okay.
right? Okay, it's rakia.
Okay.
But the definition of that word is a hard hammered out, uh, it's like a metal type of plate or something over you.
Oh,
And so this has been one of those weird things. You get into the conspiracy circles and the flat Earth circles, and I'm
like
not
the
saying
Matrix kind of thing? Or
it, it, it's it's
the
just been
grid? The
argued.
grid? Is that the
Yeah,
grid?
it's just been argued forever. What is
Okay.
it, right?
Okay.
And I don't have a good answer
Okay.
because you look up in the sky and everybody says, yeah, the firmament's right outside the atmosphere and we can't leave the Earth. Well, we did leave the Earth,
Mhm.
so
Right.
and that there's people that want to argue that too, and I'm not putting them down because I went down that rabbit hole too, and I've got my own opinions that are
Yeah,
there, but
yeah.
that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
But because you got to understand, when this is in my mind, I'm going, what does this have to do with what we're talking about? No, it's very important because this leads you to the next part of the puzzle, the firmament, your hard case, your body. What's inside your body? 70% water. What's outside of your body? Ether included, water. Separated the above from the below.
Oh, is
Oh,
the body?
it's the body.
It's the body.
But here's where it comes now. Here's my answer.
Okay.
So, first off, I already know anybody who's studied the Bible or whatever, I'm a heretic, burn me at the stake. I'm cool with that, whatever. We can go down that road if you want. The firmament is here. See,
Yes.
it
God, that
protects
makes so much
you.
sense.
It protects you, but not the body. It protects you, the consciousness, the soul, the fractal of
Yes.
God, the spirit, right? It protects you in this environment.
Right, because you couldn't have the earth experience otherwise. Well, I mean,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. And I've always
You
said
gotta have your firmament. Firmament.
it,
I can't even say the word.
it's always been one of these things that I'm like, a lot of people don't understand this, right? Like, what is peroxide, right? When you think about it, it's an oxidizer. What is oxygen? Oxygen is an oxidizer. It's constantly reducing everything down. We live in a 68% oxygen environment, whatever it is,
Okay.
whatever. There's a whole mixture of other gases, but the other gases make it so we don't just die.
Oh, because you couldn't just live on just oxygen.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay. And I don't mean die because oxygen is an oxidizer. It would literally dissolve us, right?
Yeah.
100% oxygen. That's why we don't do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, point being, I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, that's cool, right? Yeah, that's great. Oh, it hits me like a ton of bricks. What's the transfer agent? Water.
Oh, okay. So, oh, I just got chills.
Water. And
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
going,
So that's I have been told, and I think there's others out there feeling this way. That's source free. That's source. Like
mm-hmm.
what? That's your conduit. That and this
Yeah,
is also part of
yep.
now that you say this, I know you want to say more, but I'm going to give you my
No,
stuff.
go ahead.
Is why we need more water as we go through this awakening journey, this through higher consciousness. We need more water. We need to
Oh,
drink more
yeah.
water. We need to be in water, and people connect to water more. And the whole source thing has been coming up with me recently of like this, but it is a conduit. You're right, and it also
Yeah.
has coding in it. It's got coding and it's got ancient knowledge. And anyway, go ahead.
Yes. No, keep going.
Oh,
So,
it's okay.
so my mind immediately goes to Dr. Emoto and the water experiments where you talk to water, and he's been, full disclosure, right? This guy's been, he admitted that he cherry picked his pictures, and people have had a hard time reproducing it in the scientific world and all this, right? So, it's out there.
But Veda Austin is doing it big time. If you haven't found her yet.
Oh, yeah. No, though, there's others, right?
Mhm.
So this is the bizarre thing. I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, so there's Emoto's experiment and talking to the water and, so on and so forth. And okay, now this is where it gets really, really frighteningly cool. Sitting here and I'm going, okay, water's the transfer agent, which makes sense, right? And I was thinking about it, and my brain just goes back to like these elementary school type things that we did. So you can take 10 glasses of water, and then you can put a tuning fork in the middle of them, and all of the water will start vibrating in the glasses,
In each of the glasses.
whatever that tuning fork is vibrating
Like if
at.
you're
So
the tuning fork's outside of the water and you do the
yeah,
thing. Yeah,
like
okay.
outside of the glass, yeah, and you just let it sit there. At the end of the day, nothing gets past here until you give consent, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, wait a minute. So now, and we've talked about this before, right? But now, like, the connection is here. What's the transfer agent? So it's I am fill in the blank. Now think about what's happening energetically. Your vocal cords are moving, and it's programming the water. I am unworthy.
Oh, the vibration of the
I am in lack.
Oh, because the water in your body is what's moving everything around.
This is Dr. Emoto's experiment. You talk to the water and you tell it I love you, and the water would grow plants. You talk to the water and say I hate you, and the plants would die. You're literally programming your own biological service unit. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh
Look
my
at me. I'm
God.
like,
I know. And it was so profound because I'm going, holy cow, it comes down to this one word, consent. And I haven't been able to get off consent and imposition for like 4 years.
you're
And I'm like,
programming all the water in your body. That's
yes,
and it's
yes.
going through you, and that's how
That's
imagine
why,
that feels so different now. Like that feels like now that you know this, you can change anything. For some reason, that just feels
exactly. So think about it, because this is where my brain went, right? This is where I go back now, and I'm going back to the biblical thing, right? Do not take on the oath. Let your yes be yes or your no be no. Well, think about it. Don't consent. Forget the word oath. Don't consent. Let your yes be yes or your no be no. So if you say, yes, I consent, it needs to be what you want, which is freaking crazy because in the book and in that link I sent you, the first thing it talks about is you have to give consent before anything
anything.
else will move. You have to give consent.
And consent can be is oftentimes by our actions and choices we make,
No,
right?
no, no.
Oh, you're
It's
talking.
internally.
Oh,
So
I
how many
understand.
times have you said,
Okay.
you're at work and somebody comes to you and say, hey, can you take on this spreadsheet for me and then
Uh-huh.
inside you're saying, no, I
Yeah.
don't have the freaking time.
Yeah.
But you know damn well you got to be politically correct and you'll be like,
Yes.
oh, yeah, sure, I'll help you out. And you have no intention of having that on time or doing a good
Yeah.
job. You'll do it because you got to muscle your way through it.
Yeah.
but it's not your best work.
And it's not in flow because it
Right.
doesn't
It's
it
not in
doesn't
flow.
align. It doesn't
Yep.
align what you really want.
And
Yes.
you're in dread. And then what do you
Yes.
say? What's the first thing you say? I don't have time for this.
Oh my God. But yes, and this is the heart of what we have are starting to become, which is being able to, do what serves you and you choose,
Yes.
right? And to be
Yes.
able to speak your truth and use your
Yes.
voice and
And I'm sitting there and I'm going, so if you take the little analogy I was just using and you're going, yeah, I'll do it, but inside you're saying, I don't want to do this. You're going to drag yourself through it. You're going to start saying, I don't have time. I'm. You've already now, because of the way the energy moves, you've already consented to the lack. You're programming the water.
right.
Your body naturally
Now
aligns
you have a huge
to the
dissonance.
resonance.
You have an
Now
energetic
you feel tired. Now you're aggravated.
and
Whatever.
And you know what happens down the road, and you see it all the time with people, is they're doing things that don't serve them. We all do that, but
Yep.
but they continuously do it, a pattern of how they don't want to live. And then guess what? They implode down the road, either with
Yep.
illnesses, nervous breakdowns, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
Think about it.
This is gonna blow your mind. So we're sitting here. I'm sitting here doing. I'm literally like my brain is lighting up with all of this. Right. Another one of these passages pop up in my head. Actually, a couple of them do. But the first one is about the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. So the parable, in a really brief nutshell, there's a rich man and there's Lazarus. Lazarus, a poor man sitting at his step. Lazarus, the rich man walks by him every
Yep.
day, not paying any attention to Lazarus. And then they both die. And Abraham is standing with Lazarus on one side of this great chasm, and the rich man's over on the other side. They call it hell, or whatever. Okay, that's the parable. And at the end of the day, in the parable, Abraham says there's this great chasm between us and we can't cross it. And that whole parable, now the way the industrial religious complex takes that and spins it, it's a very, very deprecating type of thing, self-deprecating type of thing. But when you think about it energetically, right? And I'm going, okay, so wait a minute. If I turn that inward, there's consent and imposition. My yes be yes, my no be no, right? Hold on. That parable is talking about you internally. What are you not in alignment with? And when you die, when you exit this world, that all solidifies. It's there. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this whole story isn't about being rich or being poor, being in lack, being in want. It's you performing the rich man task while believing you're in lack. It's greed. It's back to the word greed. Oh my gosh. And I'm sitting, my mind's just blowing up, right? And then there's this other little piece of a passage
Okay,
that's
wait. Can
never.
you go back and do that? Say that again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Say that part that blew your mind. I got to hear this again. Say
Yep.
it again.
So in the parable,
Yes.
you're being shown the rich man over here in the whatever that is over there. There's the poor man,
Lazarus.
right?
Yes.
And everybody assumes that man's being comforted in the bosom of heaven because whatever,
Right.
get off of that,
Right.
right? You've died, and this is frozen in place now,
Yeah.
right? It's on one side, you're performing the rich man task, all right? And it's further evidence than the parable I'll tell you here in just a second. And then while you were saying no, so go back to where I started. One side of the energy is taking from the other. There's no
Yes.
equilibrium, right? So the side that's taking, the rich man, and the poor man, the soul is starving, right? It opens up this great chasm in the middle. That's what they're showing you. That's you. If you haven't reconciled this, if you haven't pulled this together. And I'm like, holy crap.
Oh,
Right?
the whole
But
totality
what
of it
even
is
goes,
talking about you individually,
yes, but
where
what
you're
it
at.
does, what you see in the second part of the story is the rich man on the other side of the chasm is still giving orders like he's entitled to something. Can you have Lazarus dip his finger in water and drop it on my tongue? And Abraham tells him, no, there's this great chasm between us and we can't cross it, right? And I'm going, holy cow. So that's the I don't want to say the ego, but it is the ego without equilibrium to the soul or the consciousness or the spirit, whatever you want to talk, right?
Yes.
It's demand. So just take it back to the simple idea of shadow work. This is where the external performance dude's saying, hey, you got to give more. And this person is not in alignment. They don't want to do that. They want to say no. This is the passage. Let your yes be yes or your no be no. Anything else is evil. Don't think about evil like
No.
the bad guy or the good. Evil is life backwards. Evil is anti life.
Oh, God, it is.
It's anti life. Talking to the water, entraining the water with anti life. That's an awful lot of engineering talk right there. And that's the only
Oh,
way I
no,
can
no, no, no.
understand this is in frequency and resonance. And
No, I agree. That's how I talk too. That's the only way I can
that,
do it. And I don't even, not trained, but
yeah, yeah. So
okay.
I'm sitting and I'm going, okay. So, and then this other passage comes up, though, that's never made any sense to me whatsoever. Jesus is walking. There's a crowd out in the crowd, and there's a guy in the crowd, and he says, hey, Jesus, tell my brother to give me my half of the inheritance. Jesus replies, who am I to be a judge among you or between you? And that sets up a whole nother parable. But that little piece right there, I'm like, that is so freaking out of place. Like, what does that even mean?
Uh-huh.
Even when I was in Bible school, I was like, that just, what are you supposed to do with that? Now it makes total sense. Two brothers, soul and ego. One's arguing with the other. Give me the rich man, the poor man. Tell Lazarus, right? Oh my gosh. And I'm sitting like all of a sudden, like the whole biblical story starts unlocking in like this
See,
great, like I can literally hear it unsnapping in my head. And I'm like, wow. So, um,
oh, that is,
but here's where it goes. And I'm keeping track of the time for you.
no, that's fine. We got 10 minutes because we didn't
I'm
start.
sitting here and I'm going, now the whole visualization of the caterpillar going into the chrysalis and turning into the butterfly, right? And I'm sitting there and this is where it all comes home. And again, this is not I'm not
No,
preaching.
no, no.
This is my engineering side merging with my spiritual side, and it's just coming together like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, so wait a minute, the dark night of the soul. You don't go into the dark night of the soul with the idea that you're coming out. The caterpillar goes into the chrysalis and dissolves. It just turns into goop. And then it reforms into something else. It's transformed. So when you go into the dark night of the soul, there's no coming out of it.
No.
You're transformed by it.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And then you died with him and you rose with him. The biblical passage of Jesus.
Yeah.
quote, being born again, if you want to call it that.
Oh, right.
You died with him and you rose with him, the transformation. And I'm going, oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Oh, yeah.
hold on.
And
So,
everybody's taking all this literally,
yes, yes.
and it's
So they're
not
taking this,
literal.
yes. Well, then Will says, Will just jumps in here now. So all this has been unpacking. I don't know where Will's at, right? Whatever. Will's just left me alone. But as this is unpacking, Will comes in and says, you have to understand what you consented,
Yeah.
the transformation, i.e., being born again, rising again, whatever. You're thinking that's something outside of the normal. You're everybody's going into the dark night. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The only question is, what have you programmed the water with that's going to solidify when you come out?
Right. And in that, okay, let me stop there.
Yeah.
So in between those two things you just mentioned, going in and coming out, that gooey, mucky mess, you have the opportunity because that's when all this stuff happens, right? That's the
Yes.
mucky middle.
Yeah.
That's so you're able to then come out as the butterfly if you choose to
If you
do the
choose.
work and do the thing. And I mean, but I gotta tell you, there are people I know that have like started and then they're like, I mean, they might as well have just said, "Oh, I'm not doing this awakening thing," and then they go,
Right. Right. But that again, that's the rich man and the poor
"It
man,
is. That's my point." Yes.
right? And what you're consenting to. And that's the whole key word. That is the power of the transfer agent is your consent.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, this is what Will and I were talking about it. So you think about it, right? When you go into the industrial religious complex, what do you have to say? Repeat after me. I am a sinner, separated from God,
Uh-huh.
blah, 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 blah. You've consented to that and you've now programmed your water to that. And then the whole backdrop of reality aligns with that and gives you that
Okay,
exact
so let
thing.
me just add,
Yeah,
that is exactly it. Let me just add something else is think
yeah,
how many times that people just by rote, they just say the thing their veils is saying, they repeat the words, they don't even think about what they're
yep,
saying, and they just get through it. And they just say
yep,
it. But guess what? The energy can't discern. I mean, it can't discern whether you mean it or don't. You said the dang words, right? You
right,
consented to saying the words. Do you know what
yep,
I'm saying? Like those
yes.
kinds of things.
That's why go back to don't take an oath.
Yes.
Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything else is anti life,
Yeah,
evil.
because it's anti-life and it's evil because guess what it does to you? It's all
Yes,
about what it then ends up doing
it's
to
all
you.
about what it does to you, nobody else,
Right.
because you're the only thing here.
Yeah.
Now, granted, all of the fractals are in consensus reality, but you're the only one here. And you're moving that backdrop, or I'm sorry, your what you're vibrating is resonating and moving the backdrop and
Yeah.
giving you exactly what you're resonating with.
Yep.
So if the inside is out of alignment or out of equilibrium with the outside, whatever that resonance is, that's what you're going to get. So if on the inside you're believing one thing and on the outside you're saying another, you're resonating confusion.
Totally.
What shows up underneath of you? Confusion.
Yes.
More confusion. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, oh my gosh.
And think about the type of think about the experiences of the people and all of that that you attract into your life because of that.
Oh, yes.
Going to be
No,
all over the map.
absolutely.
And I've noticed this since I've gone through this journey and just in the last couple of years where I'm like super solid in being Carolyn, right? And because
Yep.
we've learned as we go, and I will continue to learn, but I'm like, oh my God, I'm just being me now. I'm not
Yes.
putting on like it can go even as far as for like me, um, well, work's a great example, having to behave a certain way or act a certain way or
Yes.
dress a certain way or
Yes.
um and fitting into that mold. And it's like, God, that wasn't me, but I know I had to do that kind of thing. But that's
Right.
all that, right? And
Right.
so really becoming our authentic selves and
Right.
standing true in that is so important.
So authentic is a good word, but I keep getting hammered with the word equilibrium.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Coming into equilibrium with the environment you're in,
Yep.
with
Yep.
your internal resonance, right? So you're not saying I am whatever,
No.
right? It's just you are now.
Right.
So
Your
like when you go out
frequency and
in
your
nature, you
vibration.
don't say
Yes.
I'm resonating with nature. You
No.
go outside and you just resonate with
Yes.
nature, right?
Yes.
You don't need to say I am because you already know you
Right.
are.
Right.
Whereas when I'm
But
saying
it shows
I
up in the things
am,
you do and how you behave and how you present yourself. It can shift. It shifts everything.
yes. And so when you take all of that and you combine that into that thing, so that all unpacked in like 6 hours.
Uh-huh. God. So
Ever since that day, I haven't done anything.
wait, what does that mean? You haven't done anything?
I'm not asking why is this. Hey, Will, where are you at? Or any of the other ones, any of the other. Like I'm not asking. I'm not. I don't want to hear from the team. I don't want to hear from anybody. I'm just sitting here and I'm processing this.
Yeah.
And then my body's gyrating through the energies that the earth is going through, right?
Yeah.
And
But I
the
mean,
thing is, oh, I got to tell you this part. Oh, this
okay,
is the
wait, let me add
bizarre
one
thing.
thing. Let me add one thing.
Yeah, go, go, go.
It's ultimately about coherence, isn't it?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's it.
That is the word. Yes, being coherent. Yes.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. I will be connecting with you again really soon for the June energy update. And if you have any comments or anything you want to share with respect to what you've just heard or what's going on in your own journey, please feel free to do so because you do help others when you do that. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you.